creating the thumbnail for this, so you're not going to realize how you can normally do.
Tonight's episode, That Was No Lady.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our we come to you live every weeknight at midnight. And we'll talk about things for approximately an hour. This show is episode 1,342 episodes. These are a lot of shows out there behind episode 1. And then there's some shows out there that are up at episode 1,342 was the next level. There's some shows that are at this level, but that's like those shows are highly polished, paid for by industry and machines for the outlet. So it's hardworking, individual, hardworking warrior of project. So, distracting trick. One of them went off track. Or if I kick it, it's close away. If I kick it, which is actually a bunch of leather stuff. So I've been thinking about making some leather things, but I need some things out of the leather that's in the stock. I don't know if it's under it, but I think it's a steel plastic box. Let's see. Am I not broadcasting? It's working. Start getting over to your audience. The first thing you want to do is go over to settings and go to your audio. You can set to USB. How about if I set
To my audio. Is this better? Is this better audio? Is this better audio? So let me know if I've adjusted the audio to a better setting. Now they'll take what we call time, because basically here's how the internet works. I do things on this end of the internet, and then it has to go out through Al Gore's tubes and various assorted pipes. Then it goes to whoever's on the other end. They might have a telephone or a phone or some kind of a tablet even. Maybe it's a federal agent. They're sitting at some kind of a fancy, elaborate system. They probably do a lot of video gaming. I'm sure federal agents are most of the video gamers. And they just sit around with some kind of fancy computer. So anyway, then it comes bouncing back this way, and then we hear the responses. Yes, 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 better. Okay, so sorry about that. Here's who we're going to blame. DJ was in the room, and Barbecue was in the room. Barbecue ain't in here, so just saying. He does like to make it seem like his show's so much better than this show. How am I to know? I was in his StreamYard, so maybe he went in and wiggled my StreamYard settings as I was leaving. It's petty. It's petty, but maybe it's what happened. We don't know. All right, so we're talking about Second Amendment in North Dakota. Why? Because the people that show up live when we record this show determine the fate of next week's topic. Here's how that works. Now I go back over to the show. I'm already logged in, so don't worry about it. I can go over to the actual show, not just talk about it, and then pause it because nobody wants to hear myself talking about myself to myself. Eventually, my internet will catch up. Look at how slow my internet is. Everyone sees this slow internet. Click on this, and then I can start putting in poll questions, such as, I already got it written right here because I'm all ready for everything. Copy. If it was better, I could drag and drop. Let's see if I can drag. Nope, see, it's not good enough. I have to copy and paste. Too much, so I cut the pieces I don't need up there. Paste, 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 uncut. Basically delete, I guess. Delete, kind of delete, a little bit of deleting, a little bit differently, and then finally just end delete. It's really easy on this last one. If you're fancy, same A. Boom. Done. Now you got a poll going, and then you flip it over to live so that you don't miss nothing. Good. And it's up to y'all to determine what state we're going to focus on 2A Tuesday next week on the Daily Gun Show. It will be one of the following states. Will it be South Dakota? The southern brother or sister, we're not biologists, we're not geologists. South Dakota, Southern Dakota it's sometimes called. Florida, where fluoride comes from. New York, where handgun and carbine displays are hand produced, or California, where stickers and patches are distributed from. Which of those states will we focus on next week is the determination of the 3 people watching. Guess what happened? 3 people are watching, 3 people are live. We got 3 votes for 3 different things. I'm going to kick a box of crickets. And you would think that being kicked like this a bunch of times and being disturbed would make the cricket go, I'm going to go live somewhere else. This is a stupid place to live. Come on, man. It's 2022. Seriously? Got to have a cricket in my house just because I choose not to throw poisons all over the place? All right, back on track here. So I'm also extra pissed at bugs right now. You don't even want to know what they did to my tomatoes out there. Stupid freaking hornworms destroyed chunks of my tomatoes, just chunks of them. So I'm going to watch Starship Troopers as soon as this is over. That's what I'm going to probably do. Teach these bugs a lesson. All right, getting back to it. Next week is to be determined by the people paying attention tonight. Tonight, however, last week, figured out what we were going to do here today, and that is North Dakota, often referred to as Northern Dakota, or Southern Dakota times 1 for the Canadians. They consider the other Southern Dakota times 2. So does that mean Canadians think Southern Dakota is more 2A than the first Dakota? I don't think they think that because they're more worried about their own laws, but that's a whole nother thing. So first off, the one good thing about North Dakota is our friend Biker Bob, who's co-host of the show, even though he doesn't hang out here that much, he kind of owns North Dakota. He hangs out there. He goes down there when he feels like it. Nobody in America that we know of claims North Dakota, so I guess Bob kind of owns North Dakota. He should have some oil and stuff. Isn't there fracking up there? There's only like 16 people in the United States in North Dakota that I'm aware of, so kind of owns it. So we're going to jump over to, oh, what am I doing? I can't jump over to nothing. I got to jump into real life over here and look at this book. So we're about to grab a book that I misprinted one time and I continue to use as the visual aid for this segment of the show where we're about to talk about North Dakota. However, before we get ahead of ourselves here, let's not forget that you, as a viewer, also have, as a live viewer at least, have more obligations than this. You have some other things you're supposed to be doing out there as you're watching, and that is to suggest a Second Amendment activist for us to talk about tonight, and a Second Amendment organization to talk about. I can't be bothered to come up with those. So what I do is leave that I delegate, is a nice way to say it, that responsibility off to the live viewers who chose to stay up and listen to this show in the middle of the night. For those of you who may be listening to this as a podcast, little I'm looking for North Dakota in this book, so I'm kind of distracted. A little trivia about this show is we go live at midnight Eastern. That's only 9 p.m. on the normal coast, but on the metric coast over there, it's pretty late at night. So a lot of people don't stay up for this show. So we appreciate those people who are up all night, and definitely the people that listen to this show. But in general, people that are up all night, resetting the world, refilling everything, cleaning everything off from whatever you people did during the day, wiping things off and filling things, making sure everybody's numbers are right, getting blamed for everything all the while. Like, in the morning, it was the night crew that did everything wrong. Why is it so hard to find North? God, come on. Oh, you're not even looking at what I'm looking at. All right, we're going to see what I'm so distracted by. Oh, you know what happened? Am I in here? This is working, right? Like, I'm in the chat, right? So what's happening is it's also not showing my camera. So not only did Barbecue screw with my audio, he also screwed with my video, just to be a jerk. No wonder he gave me a free link to his chat. All right, so here we go. Look at this. All right, so Oregon, right? All right, fine. Rhode Island, that's going the wrong way, right? Ohio, North Carolina, New Mexico, New Hampshire. Like, what the hell? Where's the north one? Flip it over. Nebraska. Oh, maybe oh no, this is because it's printed wrong. Oh no. Yeah, what the hell? North Dakota. I think I found it. All right, everybody can calm down. Look at this. The whole concept here was to have a page for each state. Let's take a state like Michigan. A lot of people are going to be upset that I chose Michigan, but just deal with it. Here's an example state. A lot of stuff written here, a lot of cartoons and things that are drawn, created, put together, a lot of effort. You get to North Dakota, come on, man. They don't do nothing up there. There's like 4 people up there. I mean, yeah, they're a state technically, just so that we don't have Canada being reckless with it. All right, so let's dig in. We've got North Dakota, and that's what their state flag looks like. Guess what? It looks exactly the same as the shape of their state, which is a rectangle. So like a lot of states that are decent, let's take a look at a state map real quick. We've got states that are decent, like North Dakota and South Dakota. Wyoming and Colorado are doing a good job. Kansas, well done. Pennsylvania, all right. Connecticut, come on. Except for you're tiny, you're doing it. Everybody else, got a lot to be desired. Arizona, it's all right. We're pretty much a rectangle. New Mexico, yeah, these states over here, whatever they're called, yeah, they're all right. They got their little wiggly edges because of the ocean. They can't help it. California, there's no excuse for that shit. This is religion or something. Like something happened here and everybody got mad at each other and something. Same thing here, panhandles. Then you start getting into panhandles everywhere. Oh, let me just reach over there. They're all pulling a Biden. Oh, I want to be here, but I also want to touch New Mexico. Like, oh, can I do this? But I also want to do that. Make up your freaking minds. I don't like these states with panhandles that should have never been legal in the first place. Remember what Obama said about 57 states? You start drawing lines here, and how many states do you come up with? Was it in the Constitution anything about panhandles? Look, you just start drawing some lines. You give Alabama back what they owed and Georgia back what they deserve, right? I don't even know about what's going on here, right? Maybe this is just all Pennsylvania from now on. Who knows? And what do you call this Cape? Where did that come from? Nobody even knew what that was until we did some research on that. So North Dakota does have a good shape going on. Aside from that, all right, let's keep going. There's nothing wrong with North Dakota. I drove through North Dakota once in 2018. I was coming back from Gun Rights Policy Conference. Let's go back to the map real quick. coming back from the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Chicago, I drive up through Wisconsin, hanging out, enjoying gun shops along the way. Go to St. Paul, Minnesota. Pretty good. There's nothing wrong with it. Checking out gun shops. Checked out Sportsman's Guide. Good people, good company. Checked out some of the stuff around there. I had the decision to make. Do I go to South Dakota and across, or do I go to North Dakota and across? Because I'm going to Wyoming. Not to the Cody, Wyoming Museum, but to Cody, Wyoming, which is awesome. The city, not the museum. The museum can go suck a nut. The dug up gun museum is pretty awesome, and the Cody gun experience is awesome. But anyway, that's a whole other story. Going over here, coming from Minnesota, have to make this journey. I can make either decision I want. Of course, I go with North Dakota because I've been to South Dakota before. Who hasn't been to South Dakota, right? So I go to North Dakota, and I get about to here, and the rain starts coming. Rain and snow, because it's North Dakota, for crying out loud. So here's where I'm at, and here's the storm and the snow and everything, and I got to book across and then experience some of Montana again, which I enjoy, and then get back to Wyoming, which I call home in a lot of ways. So now here we go. As soon as I get to this stupid border, which is, I think, what's it called? Whatever the town in North Dakota is, rain comes, just nothing but snow. Basically, when I'm saying rain, nothing but snow. I've driven a lot because I'm old. This is the worst time I ever driven. And I saw nothing except snow and the whites of my knuckles and the ruts in front of me. That's all I seen in North Dakota. So I'm not saying they can suck it, but they weren't very welcoming to me. That's all I'm saying. They could have done something with the weather and let me enjoy that route. I had heard stories of the fracking and the interesting fracking stuff. I was going to go explore some fracking stuff. Wasn't able to because they're inhospitable weather. All right, back to what we're talking about here. 2A. Let's get getting sidetracked. We lost a viewer because of that sidetrack. So talk shit about North Dakota. You pay for it in viewership. I'm real. So this authentic show. That kind of stuff is going to happen. Blame Canada. Blame barbecue for everything. Yeah, for this at least. Second is basically Canada. Tony, because he has a second shot coming up. I don't know what that means. States shaped like mittens are the best. Come on, everybody knows the whole reason behind that scenario. Most of the weird shapes are because of water. Yeah, how the states got their shape. Yeah, exactly. It's because they're greedy and they demand being able to drink every single day, or like I want free access to water or whatever. Real greedy. Also lakes. All right, so now I think I'm caught up on the chat. Let's get back into the... See, I had to say a bunch of stuff because otherwise your show would be like 5 minutes long. There's nothing to say about North Dakota. Going back to this prime example of the state that looks like a mitten and the stuff they stole from Wisconsin, the cape that they stole from Wisconsin. There's a section here for if the state has a constitution. There's a section here and that would be their Second Amendment or their version of it in their state's constitution. We talk about where the state got created and when. We talk about some of the characteristics of the state in so far as its Second Amendment, like orientation or whatever. And then we go on to elaborate as much as possible about the organizations and the locations and the resources that the state might have that focus on the guns or the Second Amendment or industry. We talk about the inventions and the inventors and anything that's in the evolution of firearms mechanically or in the industry there. And then we talk about the companies themselves and historically which companies have been in the state or relocated to or from the state, as well as any kind of organizations or major events that happen in the state. And in a state like Michigan, where a ton of stuff happens, we've got a pretty full kind of layout here. Now you might wonder, why is this thing all flipped around and weird? And I didn't really mention it, but I do try to mention that if you were to buy this over at gearwebsites.com, when I have it printed, you definitely can. We print them here. Can I even do this? Is that legal? On that printer right there. Right? I don't think I'm supposed to do that. But you can basically just grab one of these from the store, and they're going to be normal. This one was a misprint. Somebody put the paper in there upside down and backwards, so they all came out cattywampus like this, all backwards and different. So instead of throwing it away, we use it for this section of the show. So it's all falling apart also. So we get to North Dakota, and in kind of stark contrast, maybe the most stark of contrast to the page that's right next to it now, Michigan, North Dakota. In cases like this, we added other things to make the overall project more interesting, and that actually is good because it gave us places to put other interesting things. My goal here is to make a resource that people can have nearby or on a bookshelf that's handy, and just know where some data is, so you don't have to keep track of this stuff all in your head and then go verify quickly out of a book, just like you would a farmer's almanac or any kind of a encyclopedia or quick resource. I consider like an illustrated encyclopedia of 2A. This particular issue is focused on the state, so each state gets a separate page in the book. But like I say, some of the states don't have much to say, so we featured some other things as well. We'll get into that on this one, of course. Otherwise, this whole video will be like a minute long. So here's what we got to say about North Dakota. It was, and I got this thing focused horribly. So first off, I'm fighting my table, which is falling apart, and I'm fighting the horrible focus. Did that just get better or no? I think that's better. So yeah, that's way better. And now the book's falling apart on me. Come on, seriously? What is going on here? Come on, man. And now the cricket's back. All right, we're taking a commercial. I'm going to drink some of that water, kick the hell out of this box, and encourage folks to purchase stuff from our Gear Website store. Not that we're going out of business, but we would be better off if people ever bought stuff from us at our Gear Website store.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
All right, getting back into it. We're going to talk about North Dakota. We're going to mention that they're the 39th state to join the Union, and that was in November 2nd, to be precise, of 1889, so quite a few number of years ago. There's all but 9 states have, well, I think all the states have a constitution, but all but 9 of those states have a portion of their state constitution that focuses on a Second Amendment. So in other words, a version of the Second Amendment in the state constitution. North Dakota is one of the most of the states that have a version like this. Theirs is called Article 1, Section 1. All individuals have a certain inalienable rights among, try to get this in focus again. All individuals have certain inalienable rights, among which are to keep and bear arms for the defense of their person, family, property, and the state, and for lawful hunting, recreational, and other lawful purposes, which shall not be infringed. So it's like super wordy and kind of unnecessarily specific, I think, but otherwise, it's a pretty decent one, giving it a thumbs up. It's not as long as last week's. I forget what, I think it was last, but whatever the one was definitely the most wordy of all of them. Was that Ohio? I don't know. Somebody got paid by the word. This one is kind of short and sweet. It's a little bit wordy and it kind of unnecessarily describes things like hunting or whatever, but you never know. There might have been a time when, especially a state like North Dakota, that I am almost positive gets pushed around constantly because they don't have enough people to defend themselves. I'm sure that do-gooders and know better than yous would suggest that North Dakota doesn't know how to manage their own resources and would push all kinds of weird, requirements and obligations on their wildlife. So I bet you they put hunting in there to make sure that they don't get tread on, so to speak. But I'm guessing. I have no idea. Okay, so we have a... What is going on with this thing? It has to be in those boxes, I guess. There's some boxes of toner on top of it. Maybe something picked out a place to live in this box of toner. Maybe I'm crazy and they're outside and I'm just hearing them through the wall, but there's no way they're that loud. All right, so open carry, they have that with a permit, which is weird. Nobody likes that. Concealed carry, in 1985, they got may issue, but then in 2004, it turned to shall issue, so that's good. According to this, in 2017, they had 49,000 permits issued. As I mentioned, some of these states that don't have a lot of data have some other information on the page, and one of the pages out there has a chart of all the different states with CCW, the number of CCW permits issued. 49,000 is not very many. And it's not because they're anti-gun and they don't issue them. I think it's just because the population is so low there. Now in this, I don't try to put things like population in square foot or density or population or anything like that, or population density or anything like that. But I know that some people have used those kind of calculations in their attempts to rank the states. So I'm not attempting to do that here, just to offer the information that we've been accumulating thanks to our Patreons. If you look here, it's saying our Patreons make it possible for us to spend time on projects like these. Thank you, because literally 146 people, I think at this point, last I looked at this place, patreon.com/gunwebsites, make it possible for us to accumulate this data, put it into the Minuteman University website, which is over here on the internet. If you just click over there on the internet, and then taking that information and putting it into the software, right, that costs money, to be able to put it into a format that you can print like this normally correctly, so that each page is a thing. I might actually print a decent one, so I have to quit talking about how this is a bad print. I'm not really saving any money if I spend 20 minutes talking about how it's a bad print every week. But anyway, when this thing is working, it takes, an amount of information from the internet, puts it into handheld, useful, quick to access type of thing. The idea there is that we become more effective as communicators. We understand more, not because we've memorized it, but because we know our resources and we know where to get the information that's accurate and what's the word, like shareable. You can go, oh, you see what I'm talking about? Here it is. Do you want to take a picture of this with your phone or write it down? Would you like this book? I'll go get another one at gearwebsites.com, because that's how it works. It's one way to do it, at least. And then, that's the goal, is to get all this stuff on paper. So, or in another useful format. So, in one of those sections, I guess, we talked about the different states' number of concealed carry. So that was a bit of a tangent, but like I say, if we don't talk about something else, then this show is very short, because there's not much to talk about, because North Dakota doesn't do that much. So let's talk about suppressors for hunting. Come on, North Dakota, you don't do nothing? All we get is crickets, because they don't do nothing about that. That seems super weird when we live in a time when suppressors for hunting is at an all-time popular, unregulated, and at a time when, quite frankly, a lot of people are questioning why suppressors are on the NFA, due in part to the number of states that have stopped prohibition on hunting with suppressors. North Dakota, silent on prohibition of suppressors. All right, what are you going to do? Like I say, pretty much Canada tells them what to do anyway, so maybe Canada's whispering in their ear not to let suppressors be legal. So next we get state firearm. They don't have one. I don't know why. They should, because they feel like they could have one, but they don't. Next, we'll talk about the only other two things we got left to talk about, let's stop talking all the presses right now. I missed an important one. Constitutional carry. Remember how we have 25 of our 50 states have constitutional carry right now, which is like half if you don't count things like Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. and other things. But constitutional carry started in North Dakota in 2017. So they're the 12th state to get constitutional carry. We have a poll going. I guess we'll take a look at that here in a second. We have a poll going on the big YouTube channel about constitutional carry, because I was watching something and they made a big point about going, constitutional carry and blah, 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 permitless carry and blah, blah, blah. There's a new one. Unregulated carry. Yeah. So, whatever. North Dakota's constitutional carry is residency requirement. So you have to live in North Dakota. So dicks, like just so that now when you go to make a map or whatever, you got to have a third color because of stupid North Dakota. Any state that does something like that just to be a jerk, just so that everybody has to make a different map, I feel like they're looking for attention. Like how are we gonna like promote North Dakota? Nobody comes here, everybody hates us. Oh, I know what let's do. Let's make stupid laws that are contrary to everybody else so that when they make a map, North Dakota is all in red. That'll make everybody like us. Well, it ain't working. It ain't working, North Dakota. Quit it. Got comments coming in. I guess you just pay attention over here. Paige says it looks pretty good. Let's see. Wesley is saying North Dakota has, this is math, 2.5 cows for every human. So that's a ratio of 2.1 to 5 or 2.5 to 1. South Dakota has 5 cows for every human. So that means twice as many. North Dakota are twice as tolerant of humans as South Dakota. Oh, I never thought of it that way. That's using math to scientifically determine that North Dakota cares twice as much about other people than South Dakota. I had no idea that South Dakota cared so little about other people. And they got those falls there. Obviously, those falls aren't any amount of shedding tears for anybody. All right, well, so we got 2 more things about North Dakota, excuse me. South Dakota is probably a whole different story, right? There's probably a whole bunch of things about South Dakota to talk about. Look, here's a bug. It's not the bug making all the noise, just some bug. Just decided I'm going to live in this book or whatever. Or, nope, I guess I don't live anywhere. All right, so we've got Delta Waterfowl Foundation, founded in 1911 in Bismarck. So Delta, probably the size of the triangle. Maybe there's some reason for that, I don't know. Waterfowl means ducks and geese and probably loons because it's close to Canada. Maybe, what other things would be waterfowl? Heron. I think that's it. Stuff that migrates and stuff that you basically have to sit there and wait for it to show up and then you shoot it when it's going to land. When it's like, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go and sit at this lake. And then you shoot it. Then you got Cobra. Looks like Cobra started in 1986 in Georgia, but then moved to Bismarck, North Dakota at some point. And I can remember doing some research about something for something else, came across that, went into this project, added that. And that's what we talk about when I say thanks to our Patreons to make it possible to spend time on projects like this. So that's how this accumulation of stuff happens. It's not like I sat down and just knew all this shit. This exists, this framework exists. Every time I learn something new about North Dakota, potentially, shove it in here. If I had interns, they'd shove it in here. And then you create a resource based on that. All right, so with that, look, I've managed to stretch North Dakota 2A into 39 minutes. Should I get some kind of special award for that? I don't know. North Dakota's got enough money with all that fracking or whatever. They could support the channel. What do I need? About $3,000 a month for 3 years? It's not that much money for North Dakota. Here's my Patreon. You can use that Patreon. They'll take a cut, or if you just want to throw cash straight to the house, I'll give you the address. North Dakota, if he wants to send some of that frack oil, I guess I could figure out how to sell a truck of frack oil. So whatever you got, North Dakota. If you got a bunch of cows, I'll even figure out a way to make them cows into money. With that being said, let's look down below. So I don't remember. This is definitely not a lot of stuff. In fact, I probably couldn't make it any smaller up here because they're basically using all the pre-formatted space that I use for that common data. And they just don't have a lot of other stuff going on. So I think there might be another state with less stuff, but probably not. So that means that this part of the page has the most amount of room. So what did I do? I put the thing that's way too huge to put in here anyway. And that's a list of basically every Army museum. Why not the Navy museums and the Marine museums and the Air Force museums? Because they can all suck it. I put the Army museums in here. So we got Alabama all the way down to Wisconsin. And here's the deal. The Army's pretty much everywhere, always has been. And we pretty much put a museum in every fort. So this is pretty much just a list of like every fort that's bigger than 6 buildings. But that's what I think is cool about the, well, I guess the other branches might do this, but that's what's cool about the Army in general is for some reason, I think there might even have been a rule, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. So there probably is a rule somewhere that says every time you're going to do something, pull one out and keep it as just so that we're not idiots, just so that we learn from our mistakes and we remember stuff. And then, you know, if the kids can go there as a learning experience, that's a better, you know, it's awesome too. But I'm pretty sure there was some strategic reasons to keep samples. And when you have an accumulated pile of samples, you can be a dick like the ATF or the FBI and just keep it behind closed doors and allude to it and show leftist media, you know, glimpses of it, or how, I don't actually know how long they've had access to it or what kind of access they have. But they certainly withhold access from the rest of us. Unlike that, the Army does everything they can. Again, it's probably in their dictates or whatever, but they do everything they can to share that those accumulated samples or that historic resource. And it used to be infinitely interesting. I grew up going to Civil War battlefields and stuff like that. So I got maybe a taste of it that way, or at least an interest in it. And then just being trained at different bases and going to different forts and stuff, different things I've done along the years, then you just kind of see these different places. And if you're, again, rewind and listen to the bureaucracy stuff, or was that in barbecues chat? At some point I was raging about bureaucracies today. You turn those bureaucracies into like back in the days before the internet. So it was like, hey, you need to take this piece of paper over to that guy today. What else you got to do? That's it. Well, what are you going to run back over and start sweeping floors, or are you going to mosey on back eventually? And if you're going to mosey on back eventually, you're going to go past something like a museum. Or let's say it's a weekend and it's like, hey, you're free to go do whatever you want. Oh, you didn't go do something? Start cleaning. And that's pretty much what it's like on the weekends in the military if you're an idiot. So they tell you you can go do something. Guess what? You could get the hell out of there and go do it. Otherwise, you're cleaning. Because again, they're not going to watch you and they're not going to let you just sit there. So you're going to start cleaning. So a lot of these things you're going to end up experiencing unintentionally, or, you know, it's just going to happen. So that's why this list is in here. These are infinitely interesting. They're going to be little insights to the base or the fort. I keep saying base because I live next to a stupid Air Force base, but next to, you know, there's going to be insight to the forts, and you know, maybe they're there to provide infantry, or they're there for cavalry, or they're there for some kind of air thing or whatever. That's what their museum is going to be about. You know, accomplishments, tragedies, all that kind of stuff is going to be memorialized there. And it's just super neat. And with the way that the internet's working and stuff, and there's actually a book. I didn't just come up with this either. I just got this book and I wrote all this stuff over, or got it copied over. And the Army actually keeps a kind of current update of where the museums are. And until Obama shut everything down in a political move to make it more difficult to experience the Army or any of the military museums by putting in some kind of fake concern about security, which is fake, then, you know, just to limit access and probably limit the amount of time and effort and energy spent on archiving our past. With no witnesses, who's going to know? And once you remove something like this from the society for a while, and everybody forgets what it used to look like, and now it's some pale bullshit crap version, how is anybody going to know? Because no one was running around taking pictures. So hopefully resources like this, you get something like this, you go, what do I care about a list of military museums? But then you think, oh, wait a minute, I got to go to, what the hell, Utah for work, school, church, civic organization, an event is happening there, sports, a wedding. Oh, I'm going there and I'm going to be at wedding, sports, all that other shit. And I got bored. What am I going to do? Oh, one of the things I could do is go to one of these Army museums. That's the goal. Also, if this was on the internet, link, but you don't care about that. I do that for the internet robots. So that's what we're looking at on the North Dakota page, which happens to be page 37 of this project. I should mention at this point that this project was put together in 2020. And because if I was independently wealthy, there wouldn't be that cricket over there making all this noise. I can't just afford to go do this. I can't even afford the time it would take to contemplate doing it. So there are people that supported this project. Oh, I guess nobody supported North Dakota. But I tried breaking the book open. It's one of the reasons it is falling apart. So I keep breaking it open to see on the spine there where I denoted the folks who participated in the printing of this project. So if I were to look through the craziness of this printing of it, I definitely need to put a good print of this together. If we get to page 38 of the book, there's a chart here that shows all the different folks that were responsible for allowing me to take the time to put all this together into this book format, and then the costs of basically getting a whole bunch of the filler powder for my printer and some paper, and then all the mistakes. Really, is what you're paying for is the mistakes. How many times like this do you print all of this to find out you did it wrong? And you don't really know if you're not paying attention until the end. So anyway, so what you're really paying for is the mistakes, and I appreciate that. In fact, so much so that we take a piece of page 38, make this chart, and let everybody know what everybody could have paid. I think, was it a $5 a page or something, like some amount of money per page everybody contributed, and this is a way to say thanks to the people that did that. I mention that because crowdfunding is a cool way to let individuals who want to see something exist participate in the creation of content. Not everything needs to be for the masses. Not everything is going to be self-funded or awesome or made by millionaires. I mean, some people dig the stuff that millionaires make. It's awesome, right? Because millionaires are so good. So if you only want to wait around for stuff being made by millionaires, then go for it. However, if you like stuff that's being created by folks who ain't millionaires, then funding individuals, funding the projects, crowdfunding is awesome. So encourage it. If you need any help with that, let me know. I think we've got, I forget the number, 37 something successful crowdfunding things. Maybe not successful, 37 crowdfunding things, maybe 20 something of successful. Yeah, we learn from mistakes, and just like anybody, we don't shoot all 100% of the time. So if you need help with doing one of these, I'm not going to suggest that we only win, because I think you can learn just as much from failures or know what to expect when a thing's going to start to fail. Understand all that. So if you have any questions about crowdfunding, let me know. With that, let's see in the comments over here. We'll close out of this. We'll scroll over to the comments here and do a quick transition. See how cool that was? And then I can stop that and move this completely out of my way again. And go check out the comments, which are here, to see if anybody mentioned or what's the word? Anybody nominated an organization or an activist to talk about. So everybody was yelling about my audio earlier. Clover was just lecturing me about how audio is so good. And then barbecue messed with my audio. All right, so then we get to most of the weird shapes are because of water. We heard about that already. Also mountains, I bet. Let's see. If you got $1 from each person in North Dakota, you could buy a cup of coffee once a week. Yeah. Like half of South Dakota is simply badlands, but no one ever developed it. Just badlands. Oh, I see what you're saying. Well, yeah, when it's crazy terrain. I've been there a couple of times. I just don't know. I've only driven through it. So, but I guess that could definitely be the case. You got stilts and, Jetson houses. So just saying. But nobody suggested either an organization or an activist. Let's see. So how about a 2A game along the lines of jarts? That's interesting. There could probably be something. I don't know about the jarts part of it, because obviously I don't have a lawn. I live where there's stones and rocks. So you could wing a dart anywhere you wanted. It's just not going to poke in the ground any place. And You could probably do something with a dart, though. Trying to figure out a way to turn or flip that around into the internet would be a little bit tough. So I guess what? I think I'm going to say let's go, because I went 3 hours yesterday and actually been in quite a few chats today. So I want to thank the people that joined us for the auctions. There was a Pot of Gold auction today over at potofgoldauctions.com probably. And they do a live online auction. I had a bunch of stuff in it this week, and a bunch of people bid on that. So not only was it profitable, it brought in enough money to, well, for one, it cost like $150 the last time I went up there, $100 the first time I went up there. So we're talking $250 in gas just going up there. So right off the bat, like that helped a lot with all of that. Plus brought in some extra cash, which is definitely useful. Everybody knows how that works. So thanks again to the people that joined us for that, and just it made it super fun. There was other people bidding besides the people that were hanging out with us and friends of the projects and stuff. So yeah, super fun. And dropped some stuff off. I got a bunch of videos. I'll be editing the videos up. So stay tuned for a whole new series on show and tell over on the big channel with some of the stuff from there. We're also going to encourage you, if you have anything, I've got pretty much, the okay to take video of anything I want up there. So if you see something in a future video or a future auction that you'd like to hear more about or check out with the cameras and stuff, then let me know, and I could add it to the list. All right, it must be getting to be that time because I can't stop yawning. So we're going to wrap it up. Probably missing stuff. Once I get a couple more things under control here, we'll have a better schedule for this chat, and we'll quit glitching on some of these things. But if you're listening in the future as a video on one of the platforms, give us some feedback. Let us know what platform you're on. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, that's what the comment periods are for. We do read them, but we're also, even if you just want to say, hey, there's nothing to really add or complain about or whatever, then just saying hello does give us an opportunity to know who's out there and also what platform you're on, because it does take a certain amount of time to post things out there. And if I remove doing something from just one thing in the list because I knew nobody was bothering with it, then that's over time that saves like an hour, a year or something. And it may not seem like a lot, but incrementally that stuff adds up. And plus it's just more interesting when there's feedback from the people in the future. It's a fun show with the live conversation, but I intentionally put the show in the middle of the night. So the only people that are really awake right now are either really tired, drunk, or working, right? And more than likely working, doing something, and they just don't have the ability. Gunmetal Guy does a pretty good job of checking in, and that's much appreciated. DJ, of course, is just hanging out and doing this thing at this time of night. Patriot, I'm guessing, same thing. Some of the others, again, I'm guessing you're between the, end of your day, just hanging out like the other guys, or working. So anyway, again, thanks to the people that give us that feedback, so we get a better picture of what's going on. If you want to jump over to that Patreon that I keep plugging, we'll eventually get to the point where we can go live all night. Who wants to go live all night? Buy us a cup of coffee. If everybody who wanted us to go live all night bought us 1 cup of coffee each month, number one, I'd stay awake all night. But number two, that would be actually enough money to pay all the bills that I have to pay, because I don't have that many bills. And we wouldn't have to keep talking about that shit. And we'd be live all night talking about guns. So what would happen then? Who knows? If you want to find out, consider buying me a cup of coffee, then take another cup of coffee and throw it at somebody else you appreciate. Consider a 4th cup of coffee. Is that crazy? Or a 3rd or 4th cup of coffee? And if you bought a cup of coffee for a creator each month and 1,000 people did that, we'd see a different scenario. Imagine if Tony Simon had $4,000 coming in from people buying him a cup of coffee each month. It's pretty crazy, but we've seen it happen, and I'll quit talking about it because I'm just getting tired. So at this point, I'll quit saying good night, and nobody saying anything. That'd be a good cue to do this. And then, can you hear me when I have that thing going? I think it mutes me when I do that. And then do maybe this.
Tonight's episode, The Ripoff.
One of these?
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Now that I'm back from that Phoenix trip, there will be new stuff going to that Gear website store. So check that out. Check out our eBay. Crazy amount of cool stuff going up there as I dig through old drawers. And I was actually looking for something today and found like a million things to go up on eBay. And thanks for watching.
The guys and gals at gunwebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year, practice once a month, and carry every day.
Thank you for watching GunWebsites.com.